Blackstone Audio presents Revolution, The History of England, Volume 4, by Peter Ackroyd. This book is read by Derek Perkins. 1. What do you think of predestination now? The king had fled in the face of an invading army. Even though James II had reached the safety of France and William, Prince of Orange, was ensconced in Whitehall, it was not at all clear who was the true sovereign of Britain. So a convention, halfway between an assembly of notables and a parliament, was called at the beginning of 1689. Since no recognized king was readily available to call an election, it was a somewhat hasty and improvised affair. But it was not without the most important consequences. It marked a revolution in the affairs of state. The convention met towards the end of January 1689 to consider the respective positions of James and William. There was at once a conference on the meanings of a throne deserted or vacant, a learned debate, but one driven by the need to exclude forever the absent king. The Commons finally declared that James II had abdicated, but there was no such term in law, so this was essentially a legislative fiction. Yet there was no plausible alternative to the usurper's rule. As an authoritarian Catholic, James had been the worst possible monarch for a strongly Protestant nation. The fact that a group of notables had asked William of Orange to intervene in an increasingly fraught situation had granted a measure of legitimacy to the prince's easy conquest. Yet he could not be seen as a king by conquest. That would bring back horrid memories of William I, whom good Republicans loved to hate. So he had somehow to be proclaimed as king by right, a conveniently loose description that might cover almost any set of circumstances. By the beginning of February, a Declaration of Rights had been composed by the members of the convention. One of its clauses forbade the establishment of a standing army in times of peace, regarded as one of the most obvious tokens of arbitrary royal power. Other clauses tended in the same direction. Laws could not be executed or suspended without the consent of Parliament. Taxes could not be raised for the benefit of the Crown without parliamentary agreement. Freedom of speech in Parliament was paramount, and, in the final clause of the Declaration, Parliaments ought to be held frequently. The Declaration, later the Bill of Rights, was formally recited to William and to his consort Mary, daughter of the deposed king. They sat in state in the banqueting house, and after William—
Sample complete. Ready to continue?